Good evening. Thank you so much for making time to join us tonight for this exclusive edition of Diamond Live. We come to your screens every Monday and Fridays at exactly 21:15, and we do nothing but break down the day's biggest news stories. My name is Andrew Mwansa.
My name is Cheswa Kapasa. We're looking at what's been making news yesterday. A nationwide power outage. We'll be looking at what did transpire yesterday and also some of the consequences that came out of that power outage. The PS of Information and Media, Thabo Kawana, was updating the country, and the Energy Regulation Board as well as ZESCO will be getting more details over that. But well, we'll start the show tonight with Today in a Snap. So, I mean, Andrew, yesterday the ERB just confirming that indeed there was a power outage at about 20-15 hours. I don't know where you were yesterday, but it did affect not just Zambia, it did affect Zimbabwe as well, because this was an interconnected neighbor. And the Director General, Elijah Sichone, just emphasizing rather that the two mines, Chambishi and Mopani's Mindolo shaft, had experienced those incidents of miners being trapped. But fortunately enough, they were rescued, and we did also get information from the Permanent Secretary for Media, Mr. Thabo Kawana, who assured the country that there was no fatalities, no injuries, there was no deaths at our major health facilities like the University Teaching Hospital. We did also get an update from the acting managing director from ZESCO, who says that investigations and teams have been put in place to establish what could have transpired. And also they have been working now to establish that there could not be any future disruptions of this nature. And so there was just really concerns around how the country could end up in that power outage. Can I
ask you a question? Did you know that there was a power outage nationwide?
To be honest, I didn't imagine that this was like a national power outage, because I mean this was for me a mere load shedding schedule. You know,
of course, but I was only aware of this, you know, the early hours of this morning, that there was actually a nationwide shutdown because of the fact that we have not been having power. Sometimes we go for 3 days. For me, that's a household shutdown for me, you know. But obviously, the Permanent Secretary in the Ministry of Information and Media, Thabo Kawana, getting to assure the nation that during this period, you know, backup systems functioned as intended. Specifically, the emergency generators at the University Teaching Hospital were activated immediately, because the concern that came about was that what about the children, the babies that you know, are on life support? What about those that are, you know, are dependent on oxygen, you know, for them to live? But Thabo Kawana did ensure, you know, the nation that government continues to, you know, to support uninterrupted power supply, especially to life support systems and other essential medical equipment. Further, Mr. Thabo Kawana said that government wishes to inform the nation that no deaths or critical incidents were recorded during this period. The Zambia Electricity Supply Corporation restored power to UTH after 30 minutes, resuming normal operations. Technical teams are still investigating the cause of the outage, like Cheswa said, and they are working, you know, around the clock to prevent similar incidents in the future. And so I think that is the hope that the country has for now. But for those that could have missed what came out of government through the PS from the Ministry of Information and Media, here's what Thabo Kawana said.
Zambia was plunged into darkness with a nationwide power outage affecting the entire country on Sunday at around 20:15 hours. Information and Media Permanent Secretary Thabo Kawana has confirmed that the power outage resulted in no critical incidents.
And at the time that we had that blackout, and since it was nationwide, the Ministry of Health also was on the ground to ensure that all critical installations in all medical facilities across the country in all provinces were working, meaning that the standby alternative power or emergency power systems that have been put in all provinces kicked in. And so we just want to reassure the nation that we lost no lives as a result of the power outage that happened.
Ensure that patients in hospitals receive uninterrupted care. Power was restored within 30 minutes.
In the past, the ICUs have backup systems. So as of yesterday and this morning, no death would be attributed to the power loss. Thank you very much. On the kitchen, the gutted kitchen in Kitwe, I don't have a report on this one, but it's something I can follow up.
Meanwhile, miners that were trapped underground as the result of the outage in the 2 Copperbelt mines were rescued safely.
Worked diligently to resolve the unplanned outage of power supply. There were 2 mines that had people trapped underground. These mines included a Chinese company in Chambishi and the Mopani mine at Mindolo Shaft. Kindly note that the people who were trapped were all safely rescued as the mines were supplied with an alternative power supply.
Authorities have launched an investigation into the cause of the outage.
Zambia went down, the entire system collapsed. Zimbabwe went down, the entire system collapsed. Will constitute a panel of experts that will need to determine the cause of the tripping or the cause of the blackout in the 2 countries.
According to ZESCO, technical teams are currently investigating the cause of the outage and working to prevent similar incidents in the future. Peter Sunda Jr., Tamo News, Lusaka.
Well, I think what's good is the fact that we didn't have any fatalities, we didn't have any deaths that were recorded, and it's good that government is working across the clock to ensure that around the clock to ensure that no similar incident of such a nature do get to happen. Like you said earlier on, Cheswa, this outage also affected Zimbabwe.
Absolutely. I mean, just back here on the Copperbelt in Kitwe, we also are getting information that there was a faulty electric pot that set ablaze the entire kitchen from the Monday morning, just around Kitwe Teaching Hospital. This was shortly after that national blackout that affected both 2 countries, Zambia and Zimbabwe. And well, at least also this one was contained, but the fire, I think, also spread very quickly through, causing quite some damage. Fortunately enough, also there were no injuries or casualties reported, because there were some patients that were actually moved from the top ward through to a different ward, and we were just getting an update from the medical superintendent, Dr. Mboni Chilesha, who was just explaining initially that investigations suggest that this electrical fault may have been caused by the actual blackout, but also the fault may have also been caused by the cause of the blaze. It might have caused that electrical fault, as it were. But I think it's just, what's important is that there's no injuries, no casualties were reported in Kitwe. We did get also a statement from the City Council's public relations manager, who's Mwaka Nakweti, who also just emphasizing that the mine and CEC had helped out to sort out bring down the fire. And
the fire on the Copperbelt is reported to have happened around 04 hours, yet the national blackout was around 2015, and so I think the questions now that arise is that was there any linkage, between the 2 incidents, or perhaps it's just coincidence that that happened in the Copperbelt and there was a blackout nationwide. But coming up on the program tonight, we're going to be looking at the disappearance of Petauke Central Member of Parliament, Honorable Jay Banda. the Speaker of the National Assembly on the 19th of November did give a 7-day ultimatum for him to present himself before Parliament, or if he fails to present himself before Parliament, then she's going to be forced to declare the Petauke Central seat vacant. This, has unsettled members of Parliament from within the opposition and those that are independent, stating that there's no power, there's no standing order that gives the Speaker authority to declare a seat vacant, but they've also threatened to take legal action if the Speaker goes ahead to declare the seat vacant, and that they're going to use every legal means to ensure that illegality doesn't happen in the National Assembly.
Absolutely. I mean, we're also under now the 16 days of activism against gender-based violence. The President just emphasizing, Andrew, that men need to steer away from alcohol abuse because that's generally what causes people to be violent. And the President... well, the President believes so that men must steer away from alcohol. But also he mentions something very important, that in as much as we look at the girl child, we ought not to leave the boy child out of the equation, because then when these boys become junkies, they become absolutely furious with their wives. It causes a lot of problems in the home, because leaving out the boy child from the equation is I mean the home is destined for doom. So the non-governmental organization just highlighting quite many cases of child defilement and how men have abused their wives, but also the United Nations also play a critical role in as far as raising awareness around issues around GBV. We've seen a lot of activists come on board, but what much more can we do to deal with issues around GBV?
That's
because
true.
Remember, it's not just the women that can be abused, even men.
Good men can be abused too.
Can be abused.
I love the fact that the President was adding a human face to the conversation. I was listening to him. He was at the Mwansa International Conference Center. He was saying that I have never, beat my wife. Even at second year in marriage, I've never lifted my hand and beat my wife. And he was even saying that he's aware that some members of Parliament within that attending beat their wives. He was also saying that, just like you've read, that alcohol abuse could be potentially one of the reasons that could lead to GBV. He mentioned himself that he's never taken a cigarette, he's never smoked a cigarette, taken alcohol, and that trended a little bit on social media of how he has never drank a beer, nor smoked a cigarette.
He's a clean man.
He's a clean man, but you would love President Hakainde Hichilema because he loves to add a human face. He'll put himself there that, look, for me, and he would just he speaks like a father. Sometimes he speaks like a father, especially when he's speaking to issues that pertain to family, because there are students also that were in attendance, at the Mwansa International Conference Center. He even did a viva to them, the mamas and the monks, and he has advised the monks not to abuse the girlfriends, and also vice versa, for the mamas not to abuse the boyfriend. So you have to love HH, especially when it's speaking about family matters.
I love you other human face, but he's also been busy. He's also he was in Mwansa. But also I think the conversation around the politics, and I love the fact that the Member of Parliament will be joining us. I think the President getting some early endorsements from the PNUP, Hive Hamududu, just endorsing the candidature of President Hakainde Hichilema. That really made a bit of some news, because people say they didn't expect Hive Hamududu to support the president, but also the fact that the president has also. I wouldn't know if this is a political strategy for the UPND, but I think that there's many opposition members of Parliament, opposition. We've seen Honorable Chavinga also being part of the presidential entourage. We've now seen Hive Hamududu being part of the presidential. Is
it surprising? Because I think also in the build-up to the 2021 general elections, we saw very senior members of the UPND getting to join. The Patriotic Front was surprising, because most of these were Central Committee members of the National Committee members of the UPND, but also on the joining of Hive Hamududu, to support President Hakainde Hichilema ahead of 2026. This hasn't sat well with his vice president, who has since resigned. Mr. Kassote has resigned from the party, stating that this was not agreed upon by the party.
And he's not party to it.
And he's not party to it. And so he says he's going to announce his next course of action.
But it will be also good to hear what his member of parliament, Honorable Munima, would like to say. I would like to hear what he would like to say about this decision, because I mean, Honorable Munima is also one that's been very critical in issues around mining. He was asking the Minister of Mines to clarify on why the sale of Mopani transaction did not pass through Parliament. I love the fact that he's been quite a very critical MP as far as policies of the UPND are concerned. So it will be good to see a shift from that. But let's see how that pans out.
Just a few hours to go now before Honorable Emmanuel Jay Banda must present himself before Parliament, or else the Speaker of the National Assembly is going to declare the Petauke Central seat vacant. Chilubi Member of Parliament, Honorable Mulenga Fube is one of the people that did petition the Speaker, but also has threatened to take legal action against the Speaker if this goes on. I'm going to be speaking to him right after the short messages. Well, it's channel 27 on DSTV and channel 20 on GoTV. You can be part of the program by calling us on the number that is on your screen. Now, Patriotic Front members of Parliament had given the Speaker of the National Assembly a 48 hours ultimatum to reverse her decision, threatening to declare Emmanuel Jay Banda's seat vacant after 7 days, failure to which the MPs will have no option but to sue the presiding officer. The PF lawmakers threatened to take legal action against Ms. Muti for unconstitutionally and illegally threatening to declare Jay Banda's Petauke seat vacant when she has no authority or mandate to make such decisions. In a petition signed by several PF lawmakers as well as independent last week, the legislators expressed shock that the Speaker could brazenly elect to abrogate parliamentary standing orders governing this process of disciplining an absentee lawmaker by purporting that would declare the Petauke seat vacant after 7 days should Mr. Banda fail to return to Parliament. Tomorrow marks exactly 7 days when the ultimatum gets to end. With the dynamics now that Jay Banda has been found by the state and processes of bringing him back home are underway, what has changed, and will the members of Parliament proceed with taking legal action against the Speaker of the National Assembly? Chilubi Member of Parliament, Honorable Mulenga Fube, joins us on tonight's edition of Diamond Live. Thank you so much, Honorable, for joining us on Diamond Live tonight, and welcome to the program.
Thank you so much.
You gave the Speaker 48 hours to reverse her decision, but this did not happen. Are you now planning to take legal action against the presiding officer?
Well, as you may know, people now have to understand, this is the implementation of what a member's privilege is and the like should not be done selectively. For instance, we are privileged to know that some of the members have not appeared in Parliament for a longer period. Maybe for 3 years they have attended, and they have been given these credentials that are not given to any member. Mayor members, as far as we are concerned. Now, starting what you're talking about, we need to look at how the vacation occurs as a member of Parliament. The vacation, according to Article 72, which we believe that the Speaker relied on. The Speaker interpreted the Constitution. That is not a law. When we look at a member of Parliament shall accept the Speaker and the first Deputy Speaker vacate the seat in the National Assembly upon dissolution of Parliament. That is done. The office of the Member of Parliament becomes vacant if the member, one, that is clause 2 of 72, Article 72, if that member resigns by notice in writing to the Speaker, becomes disqualified for the elections in accordance with Article 70. Article 70 is the one which talks about qualifications, no criminal record, and all those factors. Then acts contrary to prescribed code of conduct. This is what she relied on. Number C. And looking at this, she interpreted. And it's only the courts that can say that qualify that JJ has acted contrary to the code of conduct, prescribed code of conduct. And what is the code of conduct? We are going to go to the Privileges Act. And we also have to take into consideration the standing orders, which are braced using Article 77 of the Constitution. Now, looking at these instruments, you find that the Speaker clothed herself with the authority to interpret the Constitution. And what is our basis? Our basis is that the Constitution...
What do you call interpretation of the Constitution? When the Speaker follows what is prescribed in the law, does that...
No, but the option...
amount to
the option was to take to this to court so that it's interpreted. And it's out of that...
Yes.
That is when, just recently, you saw that the Speaker, the Deputy Second Speaker, clothed himself with the powers to expel members of Parliament when no court has actually spoken to that effect, that these members of Parliament, their seats are vacant. As the Constitution states, we took to that case for judicial review, and I'm sure you know the outcome, that the court said that it did not have those powers
to do so.
Yes, to do so. So I think the Speaker would have learned from that particular standing.
What about, you read something, if I quoted you correctly, you said a member of Parliament shall vacate their seat if they are absent from the National Assembly.
No, if they act contrary.
For a period prescribed by an act of Parliament without the Speaker's permission.
Yes.
Jay Banda has been absent from Parliament.
And what circumstances? Are these circumstances caused by himself or caused by the state?
The first circumstance was occasioned by the state. The second circumstance, where he escaped from lawful detention, the state was not the cause of his absence.
There are all factors pointing to judges being persecuted, not prosecuted. Persecuted.
But do you agree that his escape?
We have escape to deal with and have to be fair here. We have escape to deal with and we have to be fair here. But I think it will be unjust, unfair to just isolate the escape as an independent occurrence, overlooking everything that surrounds JJ. Overlooking everything that surrounds JJ. First, the one who set the ball rolling is the Republican president, by saying that he is going to make sure that JJ is fixed. And he mentioned that that criminal, according to him, that's what he said at the press conference. If you look at the powers that the president carries a lot of powers. And his utterances are almost an instruction to anyone who serves under him. So, from that time, things start rolling. JJ was abducted. When he mentioned certain people that they are involved in his abduction, no one even bothered to attend to that. Instead, JJ was given trampled up charges. Some of the charges that he has been to court before, and he has been discharged over them. He was given those charges. And there was even attempted murder that was given to the quality and the merit of such needed to be proved through the courts. But there were a lot of surrounding factors. Some of them, I think I can't say them here, that possibly would have made the gentleman to disappear. And I think you see that
did he disappear or he escaped?
Well, there was some disappearance. Whether it's escape, it's a disappearance, isn't it?
But the courts also, Honorable Fube, are independent. So whether the president makes a statement, I mean, the president has made some statements, yes, about politicians.
Yes.
But the courts have also been independent to acquit even some of these other individuals.
I think the courts adjudicated themselves to some of the cases that they resurrected. And you know that JJ was given a charge in that area. And apart from that, in being given a charge, I wouldn't bring in the courts at this point. The people that were dealing with JJ was the police at this point, and the prisons possibly, because where he was put is more like a prison. And I think when you look at that, before you curtailed my thought, I wanted to take you to Article 5.
Let's go there.
And Article 5 says, sovereign authority vests in the people of Zambia, which may be exercised directly or through elected and appointed representatives or institutions. Now, on saying this, it is emphasizing on how do you use this sovereign authority, power that is not conferred or under this constitution on any state organ, state institution, state officer, constitutional office order, or institution or person is reserved for the people. Meaning that me and you should not use the power that the constitution has not given us. The interpretation of Article 72 is not falling within the ambit of our speaker to interpret. It's for the courts. You read Article 118, which is in the Constitution. The interpretation of laws, it be, at subordinate up there to the Constitutional Court and the like.
What are your expectations now, Honorable? Now that the dynamics have changed, because the 7 days ends tomorrow, and the Speaker is expected to make a ruling over JJ's seat. What are your expectations now with the dynamics that have changed to the effect that JJ has been found, and according to the Minister of Home Affairs and Internal Security, is in the hands of the state? What are your expectations tomorrow as you?
Well, whereas JJ was supposed to present himself, his work has been made easier. In this case, what we expect is that the state should present JJ, because they're the ones who have him there custody. So, when the Speaker ruled, it was expected that JJ was supposed to show up and present himself, that is still member of Parliament for Petauke, and is still willing to save the people of Petauke, and he was supposed to show off in Parliament. Of course, that would have been dramatic, because along the way they would have been captured and so forth, and you know what has been surrounding our dear brother. But when you look at now, and even the Speaker, to this particular question, is that now the state, through Jack Mwimbu and his institutions, because these institutions are now used like pocket tuntembers, should present JJ, as opposed to JJ presenting himself. Because he's in the custody. JJ cannot leave the custody of the state and present himself. Since they are the ones who are having him, they are the ones who are supposed to facilitate. Having given that ultimatum, which they are also aware, when the Speaker was giving that ultimatum, Mr. Jack Mwimbo was around. Everybody was around. And if Mr. Jack Mwimbo was around, what we expect tomorrow is that Mr. Jack Mwimbo with his team should present JJ too. That is how we are going to respect the separation of powers.
Are you going to accept when the Speaker declares the Petauke Central seat vacant tomorrow?
She has no authority according to the Constitution.
Are you going to accept that?
I'm saying she has no authority according to the Constitution.
But obviously, she's given an ultimatum. That means that tomorrow
that's what I'm saying. I'm trying to tell you. I know that there's breakdown of laws, and the law, what we call law of law, has broken down completely in Zambia, and I mean completely, where the president can even now be acting. The Republican president is a president technically of two political parties, that of PF and the UPND. Because I'm not trying to accuse him. Look, if you read Article 90 of the Constitution, if you read Article 90, because I want to talk about what the law states. If you read Article 90 of
President Hichilema is the president of the UPND and the president of the PF.
Technically so. Because when you look at his executive powers to perform with dignity, leadership and integrity, the acts are necessary and expedience for Article 92. Let me just start from there. The president shall, in exercise of executive powers of state, respect, uphold, and safeguard this constitution. That is where Article 91 starts from. And then safeguard the sovereignty of the Republic, promote democracy and enhance the unity of the nation, respect the diversity of different communities of Zambia, promote, protect the rights and freedoms of the people, uphold the rule of law. That's what Article 91, 3, clause 3 states. The president is not following any of these. Because if the president respected that, at first, what he did in Kasama, where he recognized Mr. Chawinga, who did not go through the mill according to Article 74.
But if Parliament has recognized Honorable Chiminga...
Well, come on, I've told you there's breakdown of rules. There's breakdown of rules. We are not a normal nation anymore. And that you have to get. That you have to get. So, for instance, when you are talking about Parliament,
the president of the PF.
No,
because
I'll justify. I'll justify.
The PF seem to have created its
no. That narrative, no, and I will not allow you to go that route. Let me tell you, Article 74 states the opposition political party with the largest number of seats in the National Assembly, and it says It doesn't say may. It says shall elect a leader of the opposition from among members of Parliament who are from the opposition. At what point did we elect Mr. Chawinga was recognized?
At what point
in Kasama?
At what point did you elect Honorable?
Yes, he was elected because
Honorable Mundubidi.
Yes, he went through the mills of the party. Election may mean at MCC level, and election may mean collective wisdom.
This issue was
hello. I'm a member of Parliament. We are the body called the MCC. At what point did they gather to elect Mr. Chawinga? So don't force these things on our throat. We are human beings. And I think we can break. You have taken us for granted. And I think it's too much in this nation. So when we look at these factors, we have tried, ever since we left power, we have tried at all costs to follow the law. We have gone to court when we are injured. And I think we are a civilized political party. We are a mature political party. And that should be not be taken for granted by any one of you. And I mean you as a citizen. You are a fourth estate. And in promoting some of these narratives, you should follow the law. We have been a law-abiding political party. Yes, we would have made our own mistakes, in our internal mistakes. But I think when we look at this, we are also talking about CAP 119. What does it state? What are the prescriptions of CAP 119? You cannot change. For instance, you can't change office bearers without even just having some meeting of some sort to endorse. You can change political bearers of a political party overnight through pens, and you go and change in the computer and you say a political party has new leadership. You don't do that. You don't dare do that.
But you're part of the members of Parliament whose seats were reinstated. So where is the breakdown in the rule of law?
Well.
You were part of the members that were reinstated as a member of Parliament.
The seats were only reinstated with the interference of the court, which I do respect. And when we say breakdown, we are putting more pressure. We, the the legislature, what is coming out of the legislature, what is coming out of the executive, is putting more pressure on the judiciary for your own information. And I have to state this with a clear face. When we look at these factors, just recently, there was a meeting in Mwansa where there was that traditional ceremony and the like, and the president was there. Chawinga was there.
Members of Parliament.
And members of Parliament were there. The president did say that Mr. Chawinga is the acting president of PF. You know that Honorable Kampampi has gone to court to contest that. And I think that is contemptuous. So, in terms of standing in for Article 91, just to Article 91 to what? Article 99, Clause 3, A to F. Among all these, if I'm to put my Republican president on the scale, He can't weigh more than, I know he weighs more than 60 kgs and above, but he can't weigh more than 0.5 kgs.
According to the Constitution.
Yes, according to the Constitution. So when we look at this, we need to know, and sometimes we should also know.
But why?
You see, Vane, no Shadi Mwakavamo. Sometimes we watch these things
he's been on record
as they're happening.
Honorable,
Yes.
the president has been on record on numerous times on saying how has he taken over the patriotic front, your own confusion within the patriotic front. You want to.
I have said I will not allow you to. I have said I will not allow you to do that particular narrative.
No, that's what
I will not.
I'm just saying
because the facts.
I'm just saying what the
facts
says.
are too stubborn to be avoided.
I'm just saying what he says.
When on 24th October you saw, and I don't want to talk about much of these factors. Some of them are in court. What I'm just trying to say is a general interference. Because if the president knows
and
that these things are before the courts,
and is well, if we're going to go by
if the president knows that these things are before the courts and are contested, is the citizen number one who is supposed to clothe himself with responsibility to protect the Constitution.
So granted.
And if the president wants to be the first person to recognize what by our laws, for instance, there is a way of how he even became president of UPND, because there is a UPND constitution that allows him to be the president of UPND. And when that happens, it means that that constitution should be submitted under Cap 119 with the registrar of societies. And it's agreed within the parameters of the law that he should be the president of UPND. This applies to all the political parties.
Answer these questions.
Yes.
Is Mwansa UPND or PF?
Well, on that factor, I cannot answer the question. Sorry.
The answer is none, because he's a PF member of parliament.
Yes.
Your party sponsored Mwansa to go to parliament.
Yes.
Is Chavinga UPND a PF? It's PF.
Yes.
Your party sponsored Chavinga to go to parliament.
Yes.
Who is president of the PF? Chavinga claims to be president. Mwansa claims to be president. Edgar Lung claims to be president. All these are patriotic members.
It's just that
none of those
it's
are
just
UPND.
that
And so, no, I haven't asked my question yet.
Yes.
So how are you now bringing in HH into the picture when all these players are PF that are trying to throw the ball?
My brother, for lack of a better term, you are being simplistic. I don't want to say narrow, but simplistic. Why you are being simplistic is that you should take judicial notice of what has been happening in Zambia and how some of these factors that are leading to the positions that you are pointing out to have existed and have come to be in existence. So when you look at my accusation, which still I remain with it, I will go with it in the grave, that the president of the Republic of Zambia is interfering with the affairs of the political party called PF. Because if the president of the Republic of Zambia is not interfering, we would not have had.
Then there's no.
Hello, can I finish my thought? I am allowing you to question me.
Go ahead.
We would not have had a situation where some of these individuals have been given VIP protection and the like after commission of an assault on the laws of our country. They are having VIP protection. That cannot be instituted by the powers that be. And I think that cannot happen without the interference of the Republican president. So when you look at the happenings in the political circle, they are only pointing to fear, because a lot of things have not been done in the nation. And then the only survival plan is to make sure that the opposition is destroyed as we go towards 2026 elections. That is the only survival plan. Because many of these promises talk about electricity. The problem that our president has is that he talked about everything and on anything. And this I mean that he promised Zambians on anything. Mention it. When you talk about prices, he talked about
in the next election, HH will contest both on the PF and the UPND ticket.
Well, you have been simplistic, and I state it. Because what I meant is that if I have control, possession means control, isn't it? If I'm the one calling shots, let's say here at, if there is a managing director here at Diamond, and it's just a figurehead, and I'm the one who is directing what to do. Who is the owner? Who is the owner of Diamond TV? If I'm the one who is calling shots of to fire you, to fire this one, or to promote that one, or to take that one to school.
Church is on calling the shots in the Patriotic Front.
Well, it is in black and white. It is in black and white. Because if he can be the one even to recognize Mr. Chawinga as acting president, when Honorable Kampampi has taken that particular case to court,
as things
where do you stand? And I think people should not be the law unto themselves. You know, this political power we enjoy. Today I'm an MP, tomorrow I will not be an MP.
So what's going to happen?
Yes.
Allow the people of Zambia to understand what's going to happen. Now that you are alleging that Hakainde Hichilema has technically done a coup on the Patriotic Front, has taken over the Patriotic Front.
Yes.
Are you going to grab it away from him?
Well, that is a story for another day. And I think I cannot be talking about political strategy here. Mr. Hakainde Hichilema is a politician just like myself. And I think when we start talking about strategy, I have parameters on how far I can disseminate this information. And I think if I said without the consultation of others that I work with in that particular institution that has been riddled with political bullets, I'll be not fair, because there are other people that are more senior than myself that are supposed to go. And I think we'll listen from those people with the direction that will take.
The picture here for many, especially that many politicians feel that you are now about to lose quite many seats. One of them is the Kawambwa seat that was being held by your member of parliament. And now the Petauke seat is also at the verge of being lost by an independent
political cowards. And I'm saying
some future within the PF.
I'm saying political cowards. Let me tell you, the PF belongs to the people. It does not belong to the letters called PF. And people can mutate. People meaning can come out in a different form, but can still be PF, and we can get power through very legal means, because we are a very legal party that can that follows the law. And I can tell you that seats like Kawambwa, seats like the Pambashe, you remember that gentleman called Riswaniso, when he posted on Facebook that we are going to, now it's the next by-election would be in Pambashe and what? Some people have even forgotten. How did it, Riswaniso become a prophet today? That now those seats and the members are incarcerated. They are having problems in terms of accessing justice, according to what the law states in Article 18. They are having problems even to get a bail, to get appeals, according to what the law has given them the leverage to do so.
He's a politician, he can make political commentary. Like
yes, but how is he sure that if you remember,
it's like how you say that the UPND will lose power in 2026.
Well, that is a general term, but Riswaniso was very specific. He isolated, certain constituencies, and it has come to pass. It has come to pass. Yes. How did the Riswaniso go? You read that judgment from Kawambwa. You read it properly. And you see that despite the call by Honorable Chilangwa and other people who even attached audios on the biasness of the person in the seat of the magistrate, he was not listened to. And according to Article 18, he is supposed to have a fair trial. And I think you should not overlook, as far as that sounds small to you, when Riswaniso said we will have by-elections in these two, and it has come to pass, where was he getting inspiration from? And when I see today here that these things are like this, you want to say, I'm trying to just be a politician. No. These things have been planned.
How do you think the Kawambwa by-election will go? Do you think, well, I don't know, because
in all fairness, the PF if you were allowed to, if Musambandi's team doesn't come in to trample on our rights, as he has trampled on our rights, as he has made sure that we do not have even freedom of assembly, and the freedom of expression, and the freedom of association. Do you know that currently the Bill of Rights is moving in Mr. Musamba's pocket? and it decides when you should have, except that in an election environment, these are allowed. Meetings would be happening. If we are freely allowed to participate.
Which way do you think is going to, the Kambwa is going?
Let me tell you. I'm trying to tell you that if we are freely allowed to participate in that election, we can easily take it. We can easily take it. Because it is going to depict the temperature of our people in Kawambwa who are suffering every day because of the hardships they have gone through. It is also going to depict the temperature of injustices and unfairness. That is what that seat is supposed to be. When we are allowed fairly, though this time around, whatever you say is either sedition or it is hate speech. That is what it is. And I think let us also listen from Voices of Conscience. The Catholic bishops recently issued a very well-researched pastoral letter, which is the temperature, or rather the barometer of all the people in the nation. They have tackled a number of issues. They have even tackled the prospective amendments, like on the hate speech, which, if you go to courts today, the people that are facing hate speech is only those from the opposition. It is about 6 or so opposition presidents are facing all sorts of, mention them, Vanawakwi, Sean Tembo, Dan Pule.
We're not being simplistic.
Yes.
If you go to court, all those people that you've mentioned, the pastoral letter mentions prolonged detentions of opposition political players. But if you look at the indictments, all these have committed crimes.
Yes.
It's because of crimes that they're being locked up. It's because of crimes that they've been arrested.
But
nobody's going to come pick you up
before I can give
you
call me simplistic, have you read the Article 18 in its entirety?
Why
unless we have suspended that particular article.
Why hasn't Jackson Slavo been picked up and locked up?
Well, when you pick Jackson Slavo and the like, you are...
Why hasn't Harry Kalava been picked up and locked up for seditious practices? It's because he's not committing any crime.
The picking up is strategic. For instance, what you are supposed to be talking about with me is that why is the Emenda, the Secretary General of UPND, not been picked up for calling my bishop a Rusfa? Because that's hate speech of its gross order. You can't call my bishop Rusfa. You cannot call my bishop Rusfa. You cannot. Even by nature of his training, he can't be called Rusfa. He can't. This is, for your information, among the 95%, Christian community. Predominantly now we have the Pentecostal churches brought together. They are the only ones possibly who can beat the Catholic numbers. The Catholics are in the majority among single denominations. Then you go and call such a shepherd Rusfa, and then there are boys who have also referred to the 60th Republican president with names. That's the example you're supposed to give me. Don't put no Slavwe, no this and that. Come on. We are not being fair.
But why haven't you reported these cases to the police?
We reported these cases, and for your information, the police have not been willing to persecute them. And that's where we have selective justice. You know that our Mushipi, that one from Kasama, reported when those boys said they can castrate the 60th, I'm just using the terms they used, the 60th Republican president.
It's like they can
and what gross misconduct can be like that? What gross misconduct can be like that? And then you want to say we have a nation that is united. The nation is polarized. And the working formula is by starting with acknowledging that our nation is not so united as we would like it to be. And we are calling on the president to unite the nation by making sure that he stands down on some of the stances he's taking.
We have 15 minutes,
yes.
Not 15 minutes. We've got 15 months before Parliament is dissolved. All right? All of you are going to lose your status as members of Parliament.
Yes.
Now that you're telling me today that Hakainde Chitema has taken over the PF, which party will you contest on? Hakainde's party or whatever party?
Well, I forgive you Because if
No,
I'm to
I'm
contest, I'll cross that bridge when we reach there, and I'll
Are you
be
going
guided.
to contest on Hakainde Stema's party?
No.
or the-
That's why, my brother. That's why I'm saying you have been simplistic.
No, I've asked a question.
But what I'm trying to tell you, of course, you know that I can't contest under Hakainde Chilma's party. I cannot
PF, which
do
is
that.
PF.
Yes, I can. No. What are you saying? You know, you should understand figurative language. When I say
I'm also speaking figuratively.
that it's more like he's controlling. He's controlling two political parties. He's controlling his one, and he has also trespassed in controlling the PF.
Perhaps
Because he's calling you to give the power of the president. No, the presidency is very strong in a political party. Just like he's strong in UPND.
Would you still
and
contest on the party he's controlling?
When you bank the presidency of a political party in any human being and it starts controlling, it is literally you controlling it. That is what I'm saying.
You're a political analyst.
Yes.
And the question is very simple before you. Which party will you contest on in 2026? Because
I
the
have told you.
the party which sponsored you in Parliament, you said it's been disoriented, it's been taken over by Hakainde Hichilema. Are you going to contest on this party which Hakainde Hichilema has taken over?
I have told you, and I will repeat, that I am not God to see what is in front of me, to see in the future. And I can tell you that there will be change of dynamics. You mark my word. There will be change of dynamics. By the time we reach 2026, the decision of Parliament, of course, happens in May. And it is at that point, I'll be an amateur to make a decision today. But one thing you can be assured,
Yep.
it will be very wrong and against my conscience.
But what dynamics would have changed between now and 20? Because there's only a year and months before 2026, the 2026 election.
My brother,
what dynamics have not changed
my brother,
in the last 3
in
years
politics,
that will change now?
In politics.
And I'm asking this question based on the fact that do you think that you're going to put the PF in order before the 2026 election? Because people are worried about this political party.
You two gentlemen, I have told you there are things that belong to strategy and there are things that belong to public. Just like they scheme in the dark to dismember a political party like PF. We are not fools who cannot think through their schemes. So I'll be responsible to start disseminating political strategy through this.
I don't think it's your responsibility because here you're crying foul. You're crying foul.
Yes, but what I've told you is that I'll close.
The UPND have been playing Mingalato, they're doing all these things to you. And if you had a strategy like you're saying, like you're claiming, I don't think these things would have happened to you. You would have thought 2 steps ahead.
No, my brother, I think you should understand that state power, when you are controlling it wrongly or rightly, is a different issue. And I think we as law-abiding citizens, we will make sure that always we follow the law. And the things that we are supposed to do are supposed to follow the law.
In conclusion, speaking about the law.
But in doing that, you should not also think that we are down, who cannot play politics. We can play politics and we are weaker to the fact. Yep. Even with Musamba's toxic environment, we are still equal to the fact, to reality. But when it comes to which political party, that question is too early to be decided now. And I think the seniors who are more senior than myself,
well, we've seen a hint. We've seen a hint.
I did not bring, as you said, I was sponsored to go to Parliament by PF. And I think whether you say PF is not there or it's there, I know the structures are there and they are intact. I know that the person we last chose at our convention is still living and is intact. And so when you tell me, as a loyal member of the political party called PF, I will listen from the voice of reasoning, and according to what I will see, that this is the voice of PF.
Is Honorable Chitalo Chirufia and Chabinga loyal members of the party?
Well, those can speak for themselves. I am only speaking for myself. If they are loyal, they will speak for themselves.
Are they in good books with the PF? What is your relationship
As
with
you
Honorable
know,
Chitalo Chirufia?
that the PF now seem to be presenting different faces. So I don't know which good stand
they have been moving with the president. That's what I'm asking.
Yes, but you know that
this has been a concern.
You know that a leader of the opposition is not an enemy of the Republican president, but becoming a Chola boy of a Republican president who belongs to a different political party.
Chabinga is a Chola boy of
That is a different. No, I've just said that.
Leader of opposition
Yes,
is Chabinga.
but you see, when you look at such factors, where, for instance, these political parties are formed because they believe in different
Are you
things.
scared to say the truth?
PF is an independent political party. You see, when you read Article 60 of the Constitution, it describes the character of what a political party is supposed to be. So, when I'm a political party, yes, I can support certain good policies and say this is a good policy and the like. But I should have a degree on how far I should go in that particular intercourse with a different political party. So when you look at the factors that you are talking about,
we're running out of time. The hot issue at the moment in Parliament, last week the Minister of Mines, Honorable Kapasa, did present a ministerial statement regarding the sale of Mopani and the need for it to pass through Parliament. One of the people that are critical of the sale of Mopani is yourself, Honorable Fube. The Minister guided that the decision was based off the advice that he got from the Attorney General over the sale of Mopani. The Attorney General was very clear that it needed not to pass through Parliament because of the state Mopani was at. I'd like to find out from you, do you still see abnormalities, especially with the clear statement which was provided by the Minister of Mines, Honorable Kapasa?
My brother, I am not a lawyer, but I always want to be guided by what the law states, and I hope that within your authority, because you are also an authority at the media, give me the time to...
Very quickly, because we need to close.
A state organ, state institution, and other public office shall procure goods or services in accordance with a system that is fair, equitable, transparent, competitive, and cost-effective as prescribed. I think this is in the Procurement Act when it says prescribed. Then a major state asset shall be sold, transferred, or otherwise disposed of as prescribed, subject to the approval of National Assembly, is signified by a vote of not less than 2/3 of the members of Parliament. And I think that's my starting point. Sold off, transferred, or otherwise disposed of. Meaning that whatever term that Kapasa would have used at that day is taken over by disposed of. And, we have a problem. Whether this is first, when it appeared on the order paper, it was said sell. The other thing, the other revised order paper was saying transaction. So both a sale is a transaction, isn't it? It's a subset of the word called transaction. And I think when we look at this, it's very clear in black and white of how, and why is this important? It is important is that because the National Assembly is a representative, the widest representative of the people of Zambia. If you read Article 61, it entails that the powers that members of Parliament have, we have borrowed powers from instead of the 20 million people to go into Parliament. Yes, it is the borrowed part. I still call that that particular sale, transaction, or disposing of is as illegal as Kapasa said it. It is as illegal as the dual carriageway is. It is as illegal as the Tazama pipeline because it has not been subjected to scrutiny of the members of Parliament who are the representatives of the people.
Chilubi lawmaker.
And when we look at this, these are not my assets. They are not President Akainde's assets. They are not Kapasa's assets. They are the assets for the people. Even when the president has the rights, according to the Minerals Act, the Lands Act, it's on behalf of people. It's stewardship. This power we have is not our power, for God's sake. It's a power that belongs to people. That's why ngamwesa mkuvota mulapoka ngamlefa ya kutumupoke mulatupera ngamlefa kutumutupere. That is what it is. So that sale, that transaction, that disposal of in my eyes, still remains illegal according to the Constitution.
Thank you so much for making time to speak with us on tonight's edition of Diamond Live.
Thank you.
Well, that was the lawmaker from Chilubi, Honorable Mulenga Fube, discussing issues around the Patriotic Front, but also touching on regarding the disappearance of Honorable Jay Banda, who has given an ultimatum of 7 days, and 7 days is elapsing tomorrow. What's going to happen to his seat is going to be declared vacant or not. And the decision and the power is in the hands of the Speaker of the National Assembly, Madam Nelly Muti, and tomorrow we're going to be tuned into Parliament to listen to the proceedings. On behalf of the entire production crew, thank you so much for watching. My name is Andrew Mwansa.
Cheswa Kapasa, we'll see you again on Friday as we break down today's big news stories. Thank you for watching. Good night.